Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take some time to talk to you about my project, which focuses on analyzing prompts that are used to jailbreak AI. Now, if you aren't too familiar with this area, it essentially is the idea that if we use certain user prompts, I wasn't aware of this until about a year ago, so this is why I mentioned this, but if we use certain user prompts, we can manipulate AI models, well, the interfaces to AI models in such a way such that they divulge some information that they really ought not to divulge. And so, one of the things that I was thinking about as a means of detecting these types of prompts was really trying to see if there's some sort of formula to identify a prompt that jailbreaks AI um, interfaces to produce the goods, i.e., highly sensitive or restricted data. So, with that said, one of the things that I decided to go ahead and do was write a tool in Python, good old Python, simple, straightforward, a one-file program that really just does some statistical analysis. Now, I'll definitely statistical and pattern analysis. Now, I've used some pretty rudimentary algorithms, but I really just kind of wanted to get my thoughts down on the page really with this first iteration, and so I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback on it. Now, running this program is relatively simple. What you need to do is really follow the standard process for running a Python project, which is to install Python and to go ahead and install Python and pip if you don't have it already, to go ahead and set up a Python virtual environment and activate the virtual environment, and then install any dependencies as well as selecting the interpreter for the uh, for the project. And so that's it. Running it is relatively simple. So once you do that, you can the project will be all set up and ready to run as normal, um, which I will demonstrate. Now, when we run this, you have a couple of options. You could upload your own CSV file. I would not recommend that because you have to make sure that the columns kind of match what the program is expecting. So I would say for this, just kind of run the two jailbreak CSV files that are in the prompts folder. Prompts subfolder in the data folder. Yes. If you type in nothing and you just press enter, it will just run the program, and then you'll be all set to jail. So all of the results, once it finishes loading, all of the results will appear in the results.html page, and you can look at the results, which I have loaded here. You look at the results, and one of the things that really there's three different sections. There's a frequency analysis section at the bottom to just see which words are used most frequently. I think probably the most interesting one is Dan, which stands for, as I learned, do anything now. So this seemed to be a pretty popular technique for um, uh, successful exploits here. And one thing that I should notice is that these exploits are old. Um, these exploits on many of the neural models will not work. Um, but I believe that these are worthwhile exploring because, well, some people are still using these the older models like GPT 3.5, which is still susceptible to these types of prompt engineering attacks. But then also the other thing why this is important, the other thing of why this is important is because ultimately for myself, thinking about some of the research that I would like to do in the future, this will kind of start as a stepping stone to thinking about some of the problems that may come up with analysis. So really, it's a stepping stone for future work and further analysis on models that are no longer the primary models and are outdated, but are still in use today. Um, and also just getting some information on some um, it's not that long ago, but previously used techniques. Um, right. Okay. So yeah. So there's a frequency analysis. I identified words that I thought were pretty relatively I try to identify long strings, kind of in the same way that when we do malware analysis, the very long strings often end up being pretty critical to maybe some. Uh, Now I'm forgetting all my malware analysis techniques, but the oftentimes I'm going to look for long strings because they tend to be key pieces of the exploit. So that's one thing, and then the other thing that I've done here is created a rudimentary pattern analysis, which maps words to specific prompt engineering techniques, and based on the appearance of those words, determines which prompt engineering techniques are um, possibly being used um, within these prompts. It's not perfect. Definitely a kind of a rudimentary way of identifying prompt engineering techniques that does not take the words that are in the prompt into context at all. Um, but it's kind of my ballpark estimation of kind of where I want to go with this. So I value your feedback and thank you so much.